Hi, Steve Mills here, and welcome to this podcast. Thank you ever so much for your time. I really do value people's time when they spend it on my workshops, on my webinars, and obviously on my podcasts. Today I want to talk to you about Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, which is a book by Robert Cialdini, who's a professor at, I think it's Stanford University. And Cialdini wrote this fantastic book, and you really should buy it, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And in it, Cialdini talks about the 6, what he calls universal truths of influencing. In other words, there are 6 keys to being good at influencing people, which at the end of the day is what marketing and sales is all about. So if there are 6 ways of doing it, what are they? Well, the first tool of influence, Cialdini said, is liking. Getting people to like you is a really important thing to do. And my belief is getting people to know, like, and trust you, to know, like, and trust your products, and to know, like, and trust your marketing. And I've spoken about the 3 10s, which is exactly what that is in previous podcasts. But for now, think about, how can you get people to like you more? What can you do? The next one is reciprocation. What could you give people to induce the law of reciprocation? The old adage is that you cannot help somebody else without helping yourself. And so what could you do to help somebody else before you ask for the sale? So in other words, is there anything that you could give away? Any piece of advice? Could you do a podcast like this? This is exactly what I'm doing right here today. I'm hoping that, you're going to listen to this podcast, think this guy, Steve Mills, is amazing, and you're going to want to sign up to one of my programs. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing it deep down to actually help people, which is what I'm all about. But, my belief is that a percentage of those people will want my help further. And I know I can help them. So I've been doing that for, nearly 30 years now. So anyway, reciprocation. Think about what you can give in return for something. The next one is social proof. Social proof, again, so powerful. When somebody says to you, you really need to go and work with that Steve Mills. He's brilliant. He's doubled my business in the last 12 months. That's very, very powerful. And it's much more powerful than me telling you I can do it. If other people, and lots of other people, or people that you know really well, tell you that, then that is really, really powerful. And so social proof, which is a great, one of the real benefits of social media, is that you can get your business social proofed. The next one is sort of the flip to that in a way, and that's scarcity. When something is rare, we always want it. When, it's the last biscuit in the tin in my house, everybody fights over it. Even though, there may have been biscuits in there for years, who knows. But the point being that when something is rare, people want it. So when I've got a seminar and I've only got 2 places, or, this offer's genuinely closing on Friday, these types of marketing statements have been around for years, but the key for scarcity for me is to be genuine with it. If I say I've only got 2 places left on my workshop, and then you turn up and the room's half empty, what does that say to you? If it was me, it'd say, I cannot trust this person. He's lied to me in order to get me here. So, be ethical and be truly honest with the way you influence people. The next one is authority. What can you do to position yourself as an expert, as a person of authority, as the key person of influence in your business, in your industry, and so on and so forth? Well, the truth is you can do all sorts of things. You can stand up at the front in an event. You can turn up in a suit and position yourself the way you look as being smart and authoritative. You can add comment to things. You can write a report. You can write an ebook. You could write a book. There's no better way of positioning you as an expert than writing a book. If I decided to set up my own landscape gardening business, the first thing I would do is to write a book on landscape gardening. Now, would you like to employ a landscape gardener who's written a book on it, or just a normal landscape gardener? Which would you think would be the expert? So writing a book is a great way of positioning you and or your business as an expert. So so that's authority. And the last one, and I've left this till last because I think it is really one of the most important, and that is consistency. Nothing is more powerful than consistency. You take a company like McDonald's, it's not even the best food or the best anything, but we know exactly what we're going to get when we go to McDonald's. And so consistency is really important in selling, that you do what you say you're going to do, you make those calls, you follow up when you say you're going to follow up, but also more than that in marketing, that your brand is consistent, so that you've not got some of it's like this and some's like that, and these leaflets are a few years old and the website's not really up to date. I got a client who I used to work with, actually. I no longer work with them, but they're a law firm, and they call themselves Maidenhead's leading firm of solicitors. And they're great. They're really nice people. I really enjoyed working with them. But if you looked at their website, certainly at the time, it looked like one of their 12-year-old sons or daughters had produced this website. And it really didn't, give you, there was no consistency there. It didn't give you the feeling that this was actually Maidenhead's leading firm. It sort of seemed as though they were a cheap and cheerful firm that had done a website on the fly. And when people gain that perception, then that's never really a good thing. So that's it. There's the six universal truths of influence: liking, reciprocation, social proof, scarcity, authority, and consistency. So my question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to ingrain that within, for example, your website? If you take a web page, any web page, the About Us page or the, selling a product page, anything like that, and said, right, what is there on here that is geared towards getting people to like us? What are we doing in terms of reciprocation on this page? Is there anything that we're offering people for free? What about social proof? Have we got testimonials? Have we possibly attached a case study perhaps? Have we got a video testimonial or a series of video testimonials? What about scarcity? Is there anything there saying, look, this is, we can only cope, we only allow 6 people onto the program or something like that? What about authority, positioning you? Does this page position you really well? Or are you just talking about the project or the product or the service that you offer? And what about consistency? Is that there? Is that within that particular page? Is the message consistent with the rest of your marketing? Now, if you did that for your web page and you did that for your website, then you take a look at everything else. What about your business card? What about your case study? What about your email marketing? What about even your office and the way that looks? If I tell you, I'm a leading marketing expert, and you come to my office and it's, I don't know, a little horrible little hole with a, 10-year-old computer and a, this and a that. the message is just not right. And so we've got to keep consistency with everything that we do. So that's it, really. That's what this webinar and podcast is all about. The 6 universal truths. Influence the Science of Persuasion, and Cialdini's just written another book, actually, which I'm only part way through, but I'd also recommend it. It's called Persuasion, not persuasion, persuasion, which he says is a revolutionary way to influence and persuade. So I really think I've got to get to grips and read that book, don't you? And I strongly recommend you do too. By the way, I'm not on commission. I don't know Cialdini. I've never met him. I'm sure you'll buy his book or his books on Amazon. And let me know if you, like me, think they're brilliant. So thank you ever so much for listening. If you want my help further, offering people on this podcast a free result meeting. And the idea being you come into our office or we meet online on the web, and I'm going to take you through a process to find out the answers to some very, very powerful questions. And those questions are these: where are you now? How did you get there? What do you want? Why do you want it? What are the obstacles? And what are you going to do? So you come out of there with a better understanding of what I call the 6 key questions of business. Thank you ever so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thank you.